Hey everyone, this is Andrew Clark, your host for Doha Heat, which is brought to you by the Ginger Camel Media Network. Doha Heat is a weekly communal podcast created for every type of individual who currently calls Qatar home. Without further ado, today's show. Hey everyone, this is Andrew Clark at Ginger Camel Media Network studio. It's been a long day, I'm sorry, but we are here tonight as I'm speaking with Mayouf Rouf. Am I pronouncing it correct?
It's Rouf.
Yeah, Rouf. Okay. I'm trying to make it sound very exotic, I guess. But thank you.
People do call me Rouf all
Rouf?
the time.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in. And I mean, this is, we were talking before the show began. I mean, how many months? We've been trying to have you in for a while now.
4 months.
4 months?
Yeah, we finally get here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Yeah. And we've met on a couple of different occasions, just bumping into each other around the city.
Yeah.
And I mean, for those who don't know you, would you mind introducing yourself a bit?
Sure. My name is Mayouf Rouf. I'm one of the co-founders of Shabab Falcon, Qatar's online fashion store. So it's a startup. We just begun 7 months ago, and we're currently incubated with the Digital Incubation Center.
That's the one based out of ICT?
ICT Qatar, yeah.
Very cool.
That's the one.
And you guys just had an event last night.
When
we're recording this, it just happened last night.
The startup tweet up.
Yeah, how was it?
I wasn't there. I was away on business.
I see. Okay.
but my team members were there.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was like a full house, 100 people. That's rare for a startup event. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I mean, before we really get into what you're doing currently, could you tell listeners a bit about your backstory?
Okay, backstory. How do you want me to go about it?
Well, I mean, tell us about where you grew up.
Okay.
Things like that.
So I was born and raised here in Qatar, in Doha. I spent my childhood, or most of my childhood here. I went to school here, not far away from here. It was an Indian school, MES Indian school. Most of us are from here.
Yeah.
Then do you want like the backstory?
Yeah, a bit of the backstory, yeah.
It was, I'm sure there are other Doha-born guests on the podcast before. So it was pretty much nothing here. It was like a countryside. Back were the days when we were happy with the roundabouts, less traffic. You could get anywhere from the city, to the other farthest side of the city in like less than 20 minutes.
Wow. That's like unimaginable nowadays.
No way. And it's like, it was a little town. Then for university, I went to India. So that was actually the first time I was having an extended India stay. Usually we used to go back and forth for vacations for a month or two maximum, once a year, twice a year. But university, I went to a place called Pune. Pune is, you would know Mumbai. It's just 140 kilometers away from Mumbai. That's where I had my semi-formative years, university. Then I came back for a while, very briefly, for a couple of months. Then I had a job offer and I went to New Delhi.
Wow.
Yeah, I was...
and I mean, before we continue, what were you studying in university?
Business. Yeah,
okay.
so I took a vanilla BBA course. It was pretty intense. If not the universe, more than the course, it was the people, the mix of people. So the university which I went to, it was like, it's not just the people from there, it's for people all over from India, and plus a lot of expats like me. For the people over there, oh, this is the guy from Qatar.
You're the unique one, yeah.
There's a few of us, like maybe 4 or 5 in my batch from my school itself. So that was my immersive India experience.
And what was that like?
That was crazy in a good way. It was. I learned a lot of things. Like say, I didn't speak much of Hindi before I went there, so it's actually there I picked up the language. And plus the people I had around me all the time, my roommates, my classmates, and others. it was a good place to be. Pune is like very idyllic. It's nestled in between all this mountain range. So you have two kind of people over there. One is senior citizens who's retiring, and the other is student community. So now it's gone over beyond the students. The students who hung back around doing their startups, doing companies. So companies have moved back in this. So now it's much busier than it was. But was a great place to spend some time. So the weather is absolutely fantastic. It goes like in the 30s, maximum the 30s during summer. It was like it had rains.
Wow.
And just say 40 minutes away, you get into the mountain ranges. So you can just escape anytime you want. And plus, I coaxed my parents to get me a motorbike, and that was the adventure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And after university, you got your first job. And
Yeah.
what were you doing?
Actually, I had a job before university. Before I left Doha, I used to work for a construction firm. Just out of school, I went to work for a construction firm here. It was a construction contracting company. So I worked for a year because I was waiting for the university. I missed out the university. I applied to university here, and I missed that. And so there was the waiting period. That was my first job. I was a sales executive. Then after university, I came back. So next to my university, I went to the business school. So next to the business school, there was this design building. So there was all these cool kids that hung out, and I was like, man, what do you guys do? Like the design work. So what do you do after university? Like we go work for advertising agencies. I like, oh, no, that's cool. Advertising agency. So I had quite a few friends from the design blog, and these guys, they showed me about the world of design, and I was fascinated by it. I'm like, it's pretty cool work. I don't have to be an accountant anymore.
There's something else out there. Yeah.
Like in here, it's like it's such a we grew up in, like partly because the curriculum we went to, it's doctor, engineer, and accountant. If it's the side
Yeah,
of it.
they're the career paths. Right?
Yeah, career paths. Okay, so like this is so cool. I'm like, how do I, a business student, get into it? Like, yeah, the jobs for non-designers too. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Should get into one of these. So I started my research, and I came to know the best one is Ogilvy and Mather. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I need to get into this advertising agency. So by then I did my research. I had a couple of seniors who went on to this advertising agencies. So I was like, okay, that's where I want to be. So I come back to Doha after graduating, nearly graduating, and came back to Doha and applied for internships in Mumbai because I wanted to be closer to Pune. So unfortunately, I didn't get through any internships, but there was a friend of mine who had a friend. They were looking for an intern in Delhi, the Ogilvy and Mather in Delhi. So he told me it's public relations. I'm like, okay, public relations, Ogilvy and Mather, all right. I just did my research on public relations. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. It's even cooler than
the advertising.
Advertising.
Yeah.
So I have this thing. If I start reading on something, I go deep and like real deep. So like for example, if it's if you told me there's a thing like PR, feel like PR, I'd have to know how it originated. Wow. What was in prehistoric times.
Yeah, get to know the whole history behind it.
So I got to this person. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Edward D. Bernays. He's Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Okay.
Yeah. Sigmund Freud's nephew. So this guy was the guy who was behind public relations. So back then, pre-World War II, it was called propaganda. Yeah, so they finished the war. This is the kind of things which fascinate me.
Yeah.
It's called propaganda. Post-World War, it became, they wanted to use it for
consumer goods.
The consumer, yeah. So that's how it merged into public relations. So I was like so fascinated with like, yeah, this is something which I want to learn about. And off I went to Delhi. Yeah, so that was my foray into PR.
And what was that experience like? I mean, going from this kind of university town, as you described, to a place like Delhi, which, I I mean, I've never visited myself, but I've heard hustle and bustle is an understatement.
Delhi is like this ocean of humanity. It's like cities, not city. So cities of 26 million people. Australia has like, I don't know, 30 million people, the whole country. So you have this packed, dense upward city of 26 million people. And the city functions and everything is there. So the beauty of Delhi which struck me, I'm a man who's more inclined. I love history. Okay, I love historical. So growing up here, I used to go back home. I'm originally from Kerala. So I used to go back home in Kerala and used to see these old buildings. So we have remnants of British times, of the times before that, Dutch, French, even from the old empires in Kerala. So I used to marvel at these buildings. But Delhi, it's a whole nother level. So it's like it was continuously capitals of empires, continuously, maybe from like ancient times, like right from the time when Mahabharata began, like 5,000 years ago, and came, and it was like you look around, you're standing one side of Delhi, you have the Mughal remnants and the times before them, say Ghaznavid or someone. Then you have the British remnants. Then you have the current regimes, the current period's architecture, and so fascinating. So I got into the city. Like if I'm somewhere, I enrolled for a master's, long distance master's degree in history. So I used to wiki it up every weekend. I used to have somewhere to go to, and apart from work, then and the best thing about Delhi was it's just 3 or 4 hours away from drastic landscapes. Like go 4 hours north, 4 or 5 hours north, you have the mountains, the Himalayas, formidable mountains, beautiful, stunning mountains. You go 4 to 5 hours on the west, you have Rajasthan's desert. You go down, you have the Indo-Gangetic plains, and it goes on. And the kind of people that come to Delhi has always been accepting of foreigners, right from its rulers to the people to the migrants during partition. Like people, it's a city of migrants. City like the average Delhiite would have a beautiful sense in music. They have really good taste. Delhi is a city of contrast. So it's the ancients and the modern which coexisted. So where I actually went was a city called Gurgaon. Gurgaon is in the neighboring state of Delhi, but as Delhi grew up, it gobbled up the city as well. So it's called the Delhi NCR, National Capital Region. So it's a collection of cities. I think it's four or five cities around Delhi. I saw Gurgaon and I was like, man, this is like Doha, because I seen the development of how Doha developed. So Doha was like a barren landscape, and we saw this place develop like over like maybe 20 years old as we were growing up. In the same way, Gurgaon was like a collection of farmlands. One major company went in, bought the land maybe 20 years before. Then suddenly, Delhi was too crowded for anything else. So
swallowed up another.
Yeah, they came in. They like privately developed city. So so we have this culture of business parks, much like our West Bay. So areas like West Bay. So I used to live and work in Gurgaon. People used to commute between cities, but I used to live in Gurgaon. The best part was I had a chance to live in a slum.
Really?
Nearby
what was
slum.
that? I mean, how'd that come about?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Because rents in Gurgaon tend to be too expensive. So you still had remnants of the village. So where I used to stay, they used to call it village. The village. So I used to get up in the morning. I mean, the place was really nice. I was the richest kid.
But yeah.
So it wasn't that bad when I say, because it was constructed. The place where I used to stay was constructed as houses for nurses. But in the end, the hospital didn't take it up. So they had these beautiful rooms out to let. So I'm like, okay, it's just walking distance from my office. I took it up. and I used to get down from the office. They used to have like a village feeling. They have all around. You have like this elderly people sitting and smoking their hookahs. Not the kind we see here, but the clay earthen ones. A relaxed lifestyle. You have an occasional buffalo to here and there.
Just wandering
Around, chilling around. This and like at times when I used to come back from work, I used to be in a wedding procession. In between, I used to dance along back home. Wow. So you just get out 5 minutes out from there, then you have this massive metro link and sparkling
modern,
city, and like that's my everyday commute. It used to be like 10 minutes to and fro from. So that I actually sought out that kind of place.
And I mean, how did you? Because eventually you ended up back in Doha.
Yeah.
So what happened in your journey that brought you back to the place you've been born and raised in?
Yeah. Deep inside, I always miss Doha. Even when it's university, when I come back, I was like, home. Okay, however it is. So in the same sense, I was there almost for 2 years. So always had this longing. Okay, I need to get back. But not in that sense. So being in Delhi enabled me to see a lot of northern India, because every week or two, the weekends, I used to just get out with my friends. I eventually had my university friends moving into the city as well. So I made it more easier. I made a lot of friends, and especially an advertising agency would have all the most eclectic sort of people. Crazy and uncrazy and all kind of people. Yeah, especially an advertising agency which has like 500 people. Over 3 floors. So that it's not like just your department. You find like the most varied, the most crazy people. So when you put all of them together, things just blow up.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So I was lost my train of thought. So what made me come back? So. Then I wanted to, so life was good, things were going great, but I missed Doha. So I thought, okay, I just want to be closer to my parents. So I moved back to Doha. I had no plans, no nothing. I was just, okay, I'll go back to Doha.
It's time to get
So how it was.
And then once you arrived back,
I was just, had very, I don't know, it was a semi-vacation for a month or two. Then I ended up with a project with the same company, which I used to work there. It turns out they were just opening up here. I was one of the first people to send the managing director an email saying, hey, I'm in town. I used to work for the same agency as before. Are you looking for people? Like, yeah, how do you get my email?
Yeah.
It's just barely opening up. So he told me there's a vacancy in Dubai. Are you interested? I'm like, no, I just moved all the way here. I'm not going to go to Dubai. So it turns out there was a 1 month project. So I took it up. It was a 1 month project. I took up the 1 month project. It turned out to be another almost 2 years. Yeah, that was again.
And then as you're working here in Doha, what brought you to have the idea about Shabab Falcon?
Shabab Falcon, we always had this entrepreneurial itch. Okay. We used to, ever since school time, we used to have had my childhood friends, we used to plan and scheme on making up ventures. I'm not kidding, it was since, say, 6th grade or something.
Can you remember one of the first that you came up with?
Actually, we were with my current co-founder. We used to commute to school, so the parents used to drop off and pick us up. So in the car, we used to plan seriously. Okay, as soon as we hit adulthood, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna open up a restaurant. So we had a name and fancy theme and the whole bit of it. But that used to be in the back of the mind all the time. But even when I was working here and it was a good opportunity for me to observe businesses, and especially in the field that we're in, marketing and communications. That was the good vantage point to look at how companies are made or their reputations are made, and so on and so forth. So this, even when I was in Ogilvy here, the managing director and my boss, they used to be very supportive Like there used to be this hackathons and MIT forums. So I used to go, and they used to let me go participate in it.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it was a time when things were heating up in terms of how entrepreneurship was seen in this world. Before, it was like business. Okay, you start a business, that's it. It goes from big business to medium business, goes to big business. So this was a time in history when we're fortunate enough to have the concept of startups. Like
which
where,
is
very,
relatively
very,
new. Yeah.
where there's lot lesser risk in terms of both sides are minimized. I'd say in terms of the risks are lesser for you to start a business, and in terms of support that's available to you.
Yeah, I mean, you have things like incubation centers, and even ministries are now clued into it.
Yeah, ministries, universities, standalone institutions. So I mean, what better time than this? And especially there's this entrepreneurial wind blowing from the Silicon Valley, and it reached our shores too.
Yes.
So we thought, okay, we need to take advantage of it. We had this idea to. So there was a friend who used to be a constant online shopper. So he used to order things on pretty popular online shopping websites based out of the UAE and Jordan. But he used to wait like 10 days, 15 days. Things used to be like bad customer service. All right, there's a segment we could serve. And we had this business idea, and we went in with this Lean Startup program with Cubic, Qatar Business Incubation Center. But we knew we couldn't do it like part-time. We couldn't have a leg in the other boat and leg in this boat. It would be unfair to both the idea as well as the place where I was employed. So I thought, okay, we need to make this leap. Let's make this leap. And
I mean, can you like step us through? I've heard from other entrepreneurs about, there's a lot of back and forth internally and externally about, does this make sense? Because there are risks involved with starting any new venture. But I mean, what was there kind of a defining moment in which you said, I'm all in for this?
The defining moment sort of like built up, but there was no. But this the idea was right. So we saw we had So I started this business with my two other co-founders. Both of them are my childhood friends. So both of them have the same bent of mind as we do. Out of all the larger circle of friends we have, these other guys were inclined towards exactly like how I am. So at one point we thought this is the moment to be in. If any more late, it'll be too late.
Yeah.
Any more, so we thought, okay, let's make the leap. So the other people involved in this, like Hamdi Shaukat, one of my other co-founders, he used to work for the marketing relationship. He was a relationship officer with the Qatar Football Association. He was a marketing guy. The other person, Mohammad Asif, he was already into his first startup, which is one of the shipping container servicing monopoly in Qatar. And like he's one of the few people who do that. He operates in a very niche market, and so it's still functioning very successfully. So we gathered all the people we had, the best people we had, the Amos, and like, all right guys, let's do it. This is we've been planning this for a long time, and we jumped right to it. And it so happened that the Cubic Lean Startup program was happening. And
so perfect timing.
Perfect timing, yeah. So we quit jobs, we took a road trip, just the final road trip. Okay.
People were like taken over by the startup.
Yeah, so we went to the mountains. We just spent like 15 days in mountains, the Himalayas. We just rented out bikes, just went to the highest motorable road in the world, and had the best time. And like, are we doing this?
Yeah, let's
go for it. We came back, and this idea, this is something. Then we started working on the idea, creating the platform. So currently we have 3 platforms. There's the web, the Android, and the iOS. So that took some time for us to develop, like scratching things off, like chipping it, making sure it was the best possible version we could go out with. So we worked on that for around 6 months, and then when we had all the platforms ready. We tested it out. So we tested it out with overwhelming response. People were very, very happy with the services that we offer.
That's great. And how about what's coming up next for?
Okay, currently the why Shabab Falcon is different is usually most of the e-commerce websites. E-commerce websites, they stock their items. So we operate with zero stocks. So what we do is you have all these merchants in Doha. So these guys, they are fighting a changing landscape. So we have a shift in people buying from outside. So we have Amazon, we have
the big names out
there.
there.
The big names out there, or even the locally ones. So for us, it was as much as having an e-commerce platform, it was also bringing the merchants in. So
building a sense of community with the people you're selling on behalf of. Yeah.
So like instead of there are people who sell it on Facebook. They take shady pictures of it and have shady comments.
It's
go
on
through
Instagram or
Instagram. So these are these platforms were not designed for it, but somehow the beauty of commerce it merges into all of this. So we want to provide these small retailers or small designers a platform, and ours is a platform for them. Say a young woman out of university, she's just finished her design course. She wants to put her line of clothing out there. The thing is, she has to go through insane amount of capital and bureaucracy just to set it up. The rents are insane. It's crazy.
To have a storefront of any sort.
So she wouldn't land up a decent store. These expenses are like wasteful expenditure. So instead, she can have the stock with us or with her, and she can list her brand, say her brand X on Shabab Falcon. Shabab Falcon will take care of the marketing, delivery, and payments.
Wow.
So in the same way, there are people who sell exclusively through us, products to us. There are merchants who used to have like the same amount of revenue that they make in a month, they make it through Shabab Falcon. So for them, this is like an eye-opener. So initially when we went to the market, there are people who weren't quite swarmed to the idea, primarily because they weren't being exposed to such, especially in the souk, the traditional souk, or not with the youngsters. So these merchants, when we offered them a trial run and they saw how it could augment their sales, and that was crazy. And these people were offering us better prices than the market, and people were like, why do we have to pay so much for like a bottle of perfume when we could get it home delivered at this wholesale prices? So that's where it clicked. And especially just pick up your mobile, swipe through the app, place an order, less than 24 hours, it's at your home. Wow. And we are maniac about customer service.
And so, I mean, if somebody is looking to sell or wants to get involved, what's the best way to find out more information?
Oh yeah, they can just get in touch with us at hello@shababfalcon.com.
Okay.
Or else I'm sure there will be show notes.
We'll make sure to link everything.
So you can just get in touch with me, and we'll arrange for from the A to the Z of getting your stuff sold.
Thank you so much. And before we sign off, it's a tradition here at Doha Heat, and as somebody that's grown up here, could you give one or two recommendations for somebody that's new to Qatar, something they gotta see?
Something they gotta see.
Or they can experience.
I think all your previous guests have exhausted the menu of places that we had. I think it would be the Blue Moon, or it could be Purple Island.
Purple Island's a new one.
Yeah.
Nobody else is taking that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, put my flag on it.
All right, cool.
Okay. So Purple Island's quite beautiful. But Doha does get extremely beautiful, say, post-November. Yeah, in December, January, February, March. This is my time of bliss. And I wait for this months. Actually, I count the months down. So anywhere is beautiful in these 3 months.
Great. Well, thank you again for coming in tonight, and thank you everyone who's been listening to this episode. As always, you can find out more information about Doha Heat, any of our guests, on our website, www.dohaheat.com. And as always, see you next week.
And we would be, you can get in touch with us at Shabab Falcon on Twitter or facebook.com/Shabab Falcon, or even on Instagram at Shabab Falcon. We'd be more than happy to get in touch.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, and special thanks to our audio mastermind, Scott Houston, for mixing today's episode. You can also find us at www.gingercamelmedianetwork.com/heat. And we'll see you next episode.